MouseandJoypad.com bring you another original. It's freaking great.
Welcome to the Mouse and Joycast, everybody. Mouse and Joypad's weekly podcast. We're so glad you can join us. It's been a while, but we're back. I'm your host, Jordan Lopez. With me today is Trevor Anderson.
Hello.
Scott Davidson.
Yo-ho.
And joining us for the first time is John Hicks.
Hello.
Hello, guys. Woo! Hey, guys. It's good to be back. It's been a while.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How have you guys all been? How about let's start with you, Trevor. Let's organize it a bit. So, Trevor, what you been up to?
Nothing too much. I've been playing a couple good games actually. Last few ones I played was There Came an Echo, which was like a voice-controlled game that was done almost entirely through voice controls, and it was like an RTS live-action kind of game. So it was a lot of Brad and Stacy moved to point A and focus fire on enemy 6, and so it was kind of cool. It actually was probably one of the better voice-controlled games I've played to date. Not only that, but voice acting was phenomenal. At the end of the day, it was still a voice-controlled game, so I have a southern twang, so at a certain point, you can't get a command across, and then you just start screaming into your mic like a lunatic. And then I also got to play Lumo, which was a pretty interesting little puzzle game.
When you were talking about voice control, a game came into mind that came out like a little over a decade ago. Maybe it was longer than that. My sense of time is off.
I think I might know what you're talking about. Are you talking about Lifeline?
That's it.
Yeah, I played that too. The one where you're like, shoot the slug. And it just wasn't very good, and the voice commands were awful. I just remember a lot of her going, speak clearly into the microphone what commands you want me to do, and I'm like, I am. You need to listen, ma'am. But this game actually does a pretty good job. There was only a few occasions where the technology didn't work, so it was kind of interesting just to have the controller just to kind of look around the map. I think the biggest faults with that game was just it was a very short story. I think I beat it in total like 4 or 5 play hours.
I just imagined a online MMO where it's all voice commanded.
That's never going to work, Jordan. That'll never work. Have you ever played an MMO with the VoIP active? Oh, no, you get all sorts of abuse, man.
Yeah, but then sometimes you find Leroy, and then and he's got chicken. So
do you know a mate of mine? Whenever he's the sort of friend that comes over and we sit up all night playing the Xbox, and I'm great when I play with him because he is just the ultimate meat shield. All he does is run in to the middle of the fray and gets absolutely pwned by a dozen guys, and no one shoots at me. Thanks, man. We don't thank all the Leroys enough. I think we should all just take a minute and just say, thanks, Leroy.
Thanks, Leroy. Here's some chicken.
How about you, John? What have you been playing as of lately?
So, yeah, I was kind of tinkering around with Stellaris quite a bit. So I thought I'd delve into that, and it's great. I mean, I've not really done too much in the way of grand strategy, but yeah, I'll give it a bash. Tried not to let it overwhelm me too much at the start. And I got into it, and it's fine. But I don't know, there were certain there's certain elements of it that sort of started to, I don't know, it was quite limiting in certain ways. Maybe it was just sort of knocking away at my moral compass a bit too much. I don't know, but it was okay. So I decided to give something else a bash, and I jumped onto this War of Mine. So now this War of Mine, the little ones, the sort of the newer one was out. But I thought I'd pick up this War of Mine and give that a go, and it's good. It's it's pretty dark. It's pretty depressing. I mean, it's got this sort of I don't know if you guys have played, but the suburban setting, it looks like an Eastern European area, and you're going out, you're doing your night runs to pick up this and that, and it's I know it's okay, it's all right. I mean, I'm currently going through the first few, getting over the first few hurdles where I don't know, I feel that I'm not sort of getting, I'm not getting anywhere. I've got to go out and concentrate on getting this, but then I get back and I use all that up on one guy's malady, and then if I'm ignoring this goes wrong. So I think it takes a while to really get your sort of your neck and chest above water, but it's pretty good actually. I'm enjoying some of those games quite a lot, but yeah, time has been limited for work and stuff. So yeah, that's and the Long Dark as well. I was playing the Long Dark, and that was great. They've got a couple of challenges, but it's still in the alpha sandbox, and Hinterland Games have got a couple of challenges on the go there. I think one was like you're being stalked by a bear, and that is absolutely rock solid. And another one was just like
that sounds
rescue.
cool.
Yeah. You've got to go and you've got to sort of go and get a flare pistol from one area, then you've got to get to another area and set it off in an allotted amount of time. It's good, but it got quite personal, that one. So at one point I was like, you know what? Okay, sometimes you just gotta let it go and say it's too hard and leave it. But no, I didn't. I kept going, and I was pretty thrilled when I'd done that one. So yeah, the Long Dark and this War of Mine has been getting my time.
That sounds like almost like that Liam Neeson movie where they're running away from wolves and everything.
Oh, the Grey.
Yeah, the Grey.
Not too dissimilar. There are wolves in it, and they're pretty. They've sort of ramped up the difficulty with the wildlife. They say at the start, we know wolves don't just randomly attack people.
So Scott, you're already started. So what you been up to as of lately? What you been gaming on?
Well, it's been a while since I've actually taken part in one of the podcasts.
Oh yeah.
Recently, I've been covering a lot of previews more than anything else. I've reviewed Battleborn, and yeah, it's an alright game. It's kind of half a game, but that's kind of just par for the course these days. But there was a game that I previewed a couple of weeks ago called Syndrome, and it is pretty intense. Yeah, it's a first-person survival horror. And, there was only a sort of an hour-ish, an hour and a half, 2 hours or something like that of gameplay in the preview build that I had my hands on. And it was kind of generic. You wake up from cryo sleep on this spaceship and all kinds of shit. It's all messed up. It's all gone horribly, horribly wrong. But it took me about an hour and a half before I found a weapon. And up until that point, it was really the only game that I've played that's had that same sense of unease and vulnerability is Alien Isolation. It has that same really stressful gameplay to it. But it's good. I think it's one to watch. I do. I think it'll be a good one once it's released. It's coming to PC and consoles. And I believe that it will support VR on PC.
What studio's working on it?
That is Camel 101.
Camel 101.
And they are sneaky. They're sneaky, Trevor, because they've got a really cute logo of like a Blues Brothers camel smoking a cigarette. And you think, oh,
Joe the Camel?
Yeah, you think this will be a lovely game. This, it's going to be quirky. No, it's messed up, man.
Like you compared to Alien Isolation, does it require like a lot of sitting and waiting, kind of just letting the time pass, kind of that big build up to like actual physical movement in the game?
You and I have obviously had very different experiences with Alien Isolation, Jordan. No, it's not as hide and seek as such, but there was one area. It's a weird layout from what I've seen. You don't have levels, and there was a lot of backtracking in the section that I got my hands on. But as I came into this, it was a big open area, and there was like little fires and dead bodies lying around. There was people hanging from chains over like a Star Wars death pit and stuff. It was pretty messed up. And you would just hear like a pipe clang from behind you. And by the time I turned around, there was no one there, and no one attacked me. But it always had me on the edge. At no point did I ever feel safe. Even when I'd been in the area like 2 or 3 times before, I never got that relief, that respite. You know, even in Alien Isolation, it's like, well, if I hide under this table, I will be safe for a while. But Syndrome never had that. It was constant. It was like you're on a public bus, and you've had, let's say, a dodgy curry. All right, and you know something's going to happen, right? You just know it. You can feel it, literally in the pit of your stomach. But the bus doesn't stop. That's the same sort of sense of unease that I had when I was playing it.
That's poetic.
Are you just trying to excuse yourself because the game made you poop your pants?
No, not at all. Because I knew it was a scary game, and I bought some nappies for it, or diapers for our American friends.
So, okay, guys. So, as for myself, I am... what was I playing? Actually, last night I was playing some of the Evil Within, which I hadn't played in quite a while. I was reminded of just how kind of lopsided that game is. At least I feel. There's some good things, bad things. But I think what sparked me wanting to play it was hearing about, you know, with E3 coming up, and we'll talk about it later, but the possibility of a sequel coming out, which is kind of a surprise. So I was playing that, and I've been kind of consistently playing a level every other night of the new Doom game on the campaign, which is just fantastic, I think.
I love that game.
Yeah, that's just a real fun. It's funny to call a first-person shooter fun, like a campaign. Usually campaigns are kind of cool experiences. This is kind of just like a fun, exhilarating kind of ride.
That's good.
Yeah, it's and it runs really nice, and so it's fun. Doom, and I think a good mixture of some Doom and Rocket League, which is what I do almost every night. It's just fast-paced, exhilarating. Actually, I found out that playing a bit of Doom helps with my pacing of like playing Rocket League, because it's so fast.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Rocket League actually felt slightly slower, so I was able to kind of play pretty well. I'm like, okay, this, it's like a nice warm up.
Hey, new free maps coming out. New free maps.
Oh yeah.
Neo Tokyo, and one that has it splits the map up into 3 separate lanes.
Yay!
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that's
they keep making it better, Scott. When are you gonna hop on board, man? We can crossplay it now.
I've never been there. I've never done it, admittedly.
Right, I will give it okay, but I'm not going any higher than that. Seriously, John, every single week,
but they keep doing something new. Every week.
Oh, you can play basketball now. Oh, and now they're making new colours on the things. And the thing, it goes zoom. Right, okay, we get it. You like Rocket League.
They got new boosts, man.
Before the bloodshed happens, but plus we got actually quite a bit of news to go through today, guys. So let's carry on to news. E3 is scarily close. It's almost here. Just today, PlayStation's Andrew House. I think everyone knows Andrew House by now. He has finally come out and verbally referenced the new PS4, whatever you want to call it, 4K, whatever. He just called it kind of the high-end PS4, which actually makes it sound more elitist, but
it's better than the Sony money grab, let's be honest.
But so he's come out and basically officially stated, well, for the first time officially stated that exists, but everyone knew that. But he's officially stated that it's not going to be shown at E3, which is actually the bigger surprise of the two. Yeah, I'm frankly pretty surprised because I thought that would definitely be there.
How can
Not
you be
sure.
surprised, Jordan, when they revealed the PS4, they did not in fact reveal the PS4. This is Sony's trick. They come on and they go, right, we have a spectacle for you. However, you can't see it just now. But trust us, it's here. Just, wait a month, maybe a month, and we'll wipe the smudge off the camera and you'll be able to see it.
Can you blame them when they brought out that boomerang controller? I mean, they learned their lesson.
Oh yeah.
They know at the end of the day, like let's hold back and let's do some testing first before we start showing anything off.
I have a theory on it, and yeah, I mean, I'm a cynical old bastard, but the money grab aside, I think that Sony are worried. And I think they're worried because obviously when the Xbox One was announced and the PS4 was announced, Sony were trumping Microsoft at every turn. I mean, they were slapping them like they were a $2 whore, right? Every step of the way. But over the past couple of years, Microsoft have really been digging deep to try and turn it around, and the support for the Xbox One is starting to build up again. And I think Sony are worried because they only done so well with the PS4 initially because Microsoft done so poorly with the Xbox One. The quotes that were said about, you'll need an internet connection. If you don't have an internet connection, then it's tough. And, they 180'd on a lot of these things, and Sony just sat there and just kept their mouth shut, which was completely the right thing to do at the time.
Yeah.
Because by just simply not saying anything, they were winning.
I'm thinking about all this, and it's just weird to be in a place where the console side, I know there's more question marks on what's going on there. I feel like consoles have always been easy to read what's happening. What's going on right now, these like generations are, especially, 2 years into it, are already clearly defined. And now we're in a point where nothing is defined anymore, I feel like. Yeah. Except for PC, which is kind of this interesting which is weird to think about it, that PC is more defined right now than the console market. Because, I mean, even recently, PC was like, there's really, the information with the new GPUs and everything, and AMD and NVIDIA coming out and stating this, and, everything just being laid out, and this is what's even AMD's come out and said they're actually releasing a graphics card that's $200 and it's supposed to be VR capable, and it's so, and compared to NVIDIA is much more expensive, but you get better performance, and so the spectrum is wider, and I think it just covers more people, and it's more defined, and it's weird that now consoles, it's kind of like there's a big jerking around of the consumer right now that it's rubbing me the wrong way, but yeah, it's just interesting to see that and know that that's what's going on right now, and just thinking back, when I was younger and everything was just fine and dandy, right? But
it was a simpler time, Jordan. It was a simpler time.
I used to have a lot of friends who used to dog PC because they'd be like, oh yeah, every time you got to upgrade, you got to spend like $300-400 or whatever. Well, now we're getting to the point where like my PC, I got it to the point where it could play pretty much any game, and it ended up costing me like, $250 and some spare parts or whatever. Now I got to go out and buy a 4K PS4. I mean, that's a whole nother console. Like, I don't need the same process. Like, I'm buying the same processor, the same motherboard, the same pretty much everything again.
I think some of the misconceptions with things like that, especially with PCs, what I found is, when I was younger, it was like, yeah, it'd be great to have a, really good PC, and it costs a bit of money, but you have to upgrade it all the time. And I think if you want to stay on the absolute bleeding edge, then yeah, of course you do. But that's your prerogative. That's your choice. If you invest in that, then fine. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, I think like you can get a half decent graphics card, and you know, it lasts a while, man. It's not a case of having to, you know, upgrade all the time. They really do stand the test of time, I think.
Yeah, and not only that, but games are getting more optimized for like lower GPUs and you know, less CPU power, so it'll downgrade itself to match your hardware, which is really nice because like I don't mind playing games like on the Wii. You know, if it's a fun game and the graphics are downgraded a little bit, I don't even care as long as it runs smoothly. Like that.
Yeah,
that's my big, you know, thing. If it's, you know, stutters running on low graphics, then that's already a bad, you know, experience in my book.
Well, I think we can all agree that the handling of this situation by Sony's been very spotty, very weird. Which I think when we look back on it, you know, it will. Maybe it won't make that big a difference, the hardware stuff, but what will be remembered is just like how badly it was kind of handled. It was just kind of, yeah, it's like it's out there, people know about it, I mean, at least reference it, but it's funny how long it took them. It's funny even reading this and saying like, oh, it's officially announced, and it you know, it doesn't really hit you because it's like, wow, I already knew that for what, 2.5 months ago?
Yeah.
Well, that was a leak, though, to be fair.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to also question, like, okay, if it leaked, then, I mean, isn't your job to get in front of it then? Isn't your job to, like, I don't know. For me, it just feels a little bit like Game of Thrones, where, like, each new book you think, okay, this is the book where winter actually comes. And then, like, you're like, fucking, I'm still waiting.
No, I get where you're coming from, but when this was leaked, there was no concrete evidence. We don't know how far along in development Sony were. You know, they might have just been off the drawing board. They might have only had their first concept. At that stage, as you said earlier, Trevor, you can't fluff that up. You can't show that because there will be any number of changes that are made to that before you're ready to actually make the announcement.
Well, to stick with E3, there was recently a NeoGAF user, Shinobi602, who I guess is kind of like a common contact of kind of leaks that usually come through as being true. Actually, not usually. He's pretty credible. But he was saying that this Sunday, Bethesda is going to release news about... actually, he gave a handful of games. There's the Skyrim remaster, Prey 2, which people kind of know about. It's been in the works for a while.
Yeah.
A long time.
That's been cancelled more times than anything, man.
That's another Duke Nukem fest.
Yeah.
It's right up there with Duke Nukem and Colonial Marines.
Oh, jeez. Well, hopefully it'll be more like Doom, though, because that was also one of those kind of games. Wolfenstein 2. Evil Within 2, which is probably the biggest kind of surprise. And and of course, you know, Dishonored 2 is going to be there. A lot of sequels, a lot of 2s there. Mm-hmm. I'm actually looking forward to Bethesda's conference. I remember last year it was kind of like, oh, Bethesda's doing a conference. What do they have? And, you know, they had a couple big games. This year seems to be a little bit more quantity, actually. So, so Skyrim remaster might actually be the biggest kind of surprise out of all those, or the biggest, I don't know. I mean, people love Skyrim, right? We were just talking about Oblivion.
And I believe Trevor said that it, like, just upgrading the graphics would add exactly 0 to the game.
Yeah.
But here's a shiny Skyrim, folks.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not going to run out and pick up a Skyrim remaster. You know, I actually have a little bit of a theory that I read an article about a year and a half ago that there was this guy working on a mod that modded Oblivion to look just like Skyrim. And then they hired him They hired the guy based on his work. They took it as kind of a resume. My thought is that maybe they might release like a Skyrim Oblivion bundle that's completely remastered. I could see them doing like something like that. And if they were to do a Skyrim remaster, I wouldn't be interested because again, graphics. Oblivion though, if it was the right price, if it was $20, I enjoyed Oblivion way more than Skyrim in the long run of things. Put me on a desert island and I'll take Oblivion any day.
Bethesda are essentially a two-franchise company. Right now, yep, they've got a lot of games, but no one really cares that much. You know, Doom only got the attention that it did because it's freaking Doom.
Yeah.
Other than Fallout and the Elder Scrolls, they don't really have a great deal in their bag. And the fact that they just brought out Fallout 4 last year, you know, they're not going to be working on anything that big as of yet, I would have thought. But I don't know, man. I liked The Evil Within. I mean, it did feel like it was just done from all the concept art that didn't make it into Resi 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a good game.
I that's the thing with Evil Within. I was kind of looking forward to it. I think I played the demo back in EGX actually, and I gave it a bash. I thought, yeah, that was all right. But upon getting the game, it was one of the last ones I got for my PS3. It just didn't grab me. You know,
Yeah.
it just didn't grab me. It was one of those ones. It was, and I wouldn't usually do it that often. Usually I'd keep going and put a few hours in, and usually I'd find something that would make me go, okay. You know, this is cool. I'll give every game a good crack of the whip. But that, I probably literally maybe put like 2 hours into it, and it suffered the fate of I'll give it a go later. You know, I'll sit down and give it a good go when I've, you know, and that time never come. And I must admit, I was a bit, I don't know, I was kind of, I was kind of disappointed with that. For some reason, it didn't grab me. I think, but yeah, I mean, I think in terms of the press conference, I think it'll be pretty good. I'm quite excited about it, actually. Yeah, I mean, the Skyrim remastered, it'd be really nice to see them add a little bit more than just, you know, a bit of gloss to it. Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, almost the sad thing is, even if it was just that, it'll do really well. That's the thing. Even if they do, it's got such an unbelievable fan base. It'll do so well. Fallout, more Fallout 4 DLC will be brilliant because I must admit, I've not played the new one. But that's on my list because I loved Fallout 4. I'm more of a Fallout guy than Elder Scrolls, admittedly, but that's me.
I would say one other thing about these games. I'm really just thinking about and noticing all the sequels that we just mentioned. I don't think any of them have a storyline that many fully embrace or could explain off the top of their hat. Like Fallout, I could explain factions and I could explain the backstory and Chinese invasion. Like I could go through the whole storyline. But like Evil Within, like I did a review on it. I've like talked about it a lot. I still can't fully explain the story. It's like they're in the mind of one person and they're all experiencing each other's fear and subconscious. I mean, what exactly is going on in that game?
It is a paranormal game though, Trevor, so it will be, you know,
yeah, but if you
fundamentally
don't
hard to describe.
No, but if you don't understand the rules, I mean, Resident Evil 4, one of his previous games, has occult stuff in it. It has, you know, supernatural stuff in it, but it had a very simple and easy to understand story. I'm going to get the president's daughter. Like that.
I would disagree, Trevor. Something I find myself doing a lot this evening. Resident Evil 4 didn't have any supernatural stuff.
What?
It didn't. It was all mutation.
Well, yeah, okay,
That's not
fine.
Supernatural. The Evil Within was like pure psychological, and there's a huge difference between that. I think, like on a very sort of personal and intimate level, that is almost impossible to explain. Whereas Resi 4 was a little facehugger thing that went into your mouth, and then you got orange eyes and started chucking axes at people.
Spat in your lungs or something, and then you're infected. No, yeah, okay, I'll give you that. But also on the on the whole way, if you're having a psychological game, you got to have a lot of subtext to it. You got to have meaning and purpose to some of the things. I remember at certain points, I was like, I would blink out of existence for a minute and I would reawake in a room that was full of like baby doll heads, like giant baby doll heads. And I was just thinking to myself, oh, okay, wow, this means a lot to me. Like, it doesn't mean anything. It's just like
It's
someone
called the suspension of disbelief, Trevor.
But that requires me to actually believe what's going on. But for me, it just seemed like someone was sitting in a room and then they wake up, man, there's like a bunch of fucking doll heads around, man. It's fucking crazy.
Man, you've been buying that from the wrong guy. If you're seeing doll heads, man.
And then someone's like, yo, and then like he reaches his hand in a box and then the box has like teeth, man. Like, okay, yeah, all that is like visually kind of interesting, but it's like the movie The Cell. If it doesn't really have anything that you can connect to the story or like try to find symbolism to, then it just falls flat.
But Wolfenstein, I know I actually want to finish Wolfenstein. That one was well received, and that story is kind of interesting in that they took that almost like a non-existent story from the original and kind of tried to add some depth to it. Time travel and weird stuff, but that was kind of a bit capturing in a way. There's that decision which friend to kill at the beginning of the game. That was actually pretty...
Yeah, that was kind of cool. But like even Prey, which again, I was praising Resident Evil 4 for having a simple story. Prey just didn't have any developments at all. I felt like I was running through the whole game with like nothing happening.
Yeah.
It was a pretty empty mothership, I must admit. When I was playing that. And you know what, I really like Prey. It was, I thought it was harmless. I had really good fun playing it. But yeah, I remember thinking, so this is this mothership. There's no one here. It was bizarrely sort of sparse. But yeah, I don't know. I'll be interested to see what they do with Prey 2 in 2030, or whenever it finally arrives.
Yeah.
It was a different era, though. When Prey
True.
came out, I mean, that was just at the sort of eve of the 360 roundabout.
Yeah, I think it was like maybe like 6 months after the 360 launched.
So
yeah.
if you take it back to then, which is would have been about 2006?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about
maybe,
that time.
End of 2005, start of 2006.
Yeah, 5, 6, yeah.
And if you look back to games of that era, they were sparsely populated.
Yeah.
Because developers didn't know how to put all the shit in. So I think, if you look...
And it was technically, and for the time, it was technically impressive.
Yeah.
It did, yeah.
It's not aged well, I think, would be a fair statement.
Yeah, because it was impressive at the time being able to, like... It was like, I think that was pre-Portal, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it was kind of doing some stuff that Portal would kind of, capitalize on and make, even bigger, expand on the idea. I think they almost like rested on that one gimmick and they could have put in a little bit more of a story. I think the only thing that you really see is that your girlfriend is being like taken along conveyor belts at certain points. And you just kind of scream, Samantha! And then like...
I didn't know you'd done the voice acting for Prey, Trevor.
I did that pretty good, didn't I?
I was uncanny.
And
if you recall the original trailer for Prey 2, it was a CGI trailer years and years ago. It must have been it'd be about 2009 or something. That was kick-ass, and it had Johnny Cash playing in it, so that's already got my money.
Musically it was good. I remember they had Barracuda by Heart, I think, playing when you're in that on the reservation in that bar.
Yes.
I think when he was first getting sucked up, and I was like, yeah, I'm liking this. He's got some seriously good tunes in it.
Well, to stick with Bethesda, guys, there's news coming out. I think it was this week, just that the Xbox One, the Fallout 4 mods were available and released for Xbox One. I guess there's been a lot of talk of people posting mods on the Xbox One for Fallout 4 that aren't their mods, that are actually made from someone else. So I think it was on the 7th of this week, June 7th, that Bethesda I'll actually read it right here. Bethesda has told Fallout 4 mod creators who believe their work has been stolen to file a Digital Millennium Copyright Act takedown request,
Wow.
which is the same kind of thing that I think big companies, including Bethesda, use when they have like videos taken down of games that shouldn't be up yet.
Well, it's a copyright claim, isn't it? Really, I mean, a copyright claim's a copyright claim.
Yeah. I guess, and of course, modders are glad that Bethesda's, aware of this, but they're kind of pissed, of course, that they have to file out all this paperwork for themselves, having to deal with it.
What do they expect? That they can just go, that's mine, I made that, give me the credit and some royalties. No, of course you have to prove you done it. If you didn't, then I could just, I made Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So give me my cut.
So that's who's the blame.
Mr. Square Enix.
Yeah, yeah. Didn't you know Scottish short for square?
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, like, the part of the problem with the modding community isn't it kind of like they all kind of, like, bite off each other? Like, someone takes, like, a mod that, like, modifies the ability to go in and change the textures, and then someone takes that mod and then puts in their own textures, and then someone comes behind that and they go, oh, these textures are great, but man, if they got the lighting right on this, and then they add their lighting. So, I mean, these, like, I don't know if you can actually... it's very hard for me to say that you can claim an actual mod unless you were the last person to really modify it, and even then you still have to look at the road work that kind of led up to your mod, including the game developer, because if there wasn't a game you wouldn't be modding anything. So I don't know, man. It just that's a harder issue. Like,
I don't think the copyright claim would be against Bethesda. I think that it's saying that it would be whoever is credited as creating the mod.
yeah, but I mean, it's still, like, shouldn't that be Bethesda's job? Shouldn't Bethesda?
No.
They sold the game with the idea that we would be getting mods. So in some way, shouldn't they be, like, at least making sure that whatever mod they're taking, they're crediting it to the right person?
No, not at all. Not at all. If they've been supplied the mod by... Right, let's play a hypothetical, right? John makes a mod.
Okay.
I steal the shit out of it, and I post it to Bethesda.
Okay.
And this is Tickle's crazy Candyland mod, right?
Yeah.
And it is 100% John's work.
Uh-huh.
Bethesda don't know it's John's work. Bethesda are only taking my submission, okay?
Okay.
So they've taken that in good faith. Why then should Bethesda be held accountable for that? They shouldn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. I should be hung, drawn, and quartered for it. Thieving little prick that I am. And John should get all the credit. But Bethesda they haven't done anything wrong. They're not actually responsible for causing the situation. There's no two ways about it.
Well, hang on. Let's take that same analogy and say that WB released a new version of Twilight. That was everything that is Twilight, except they changed it to slightly dusk. or kind of dark,
Okay,
right?
They changed it to 7:30.
Yeah, 7:30. But it's the exact same movie and everything. If I don't know who made Twilight, but let's say the Weinstein Company. The Weinstein Company turned around and went to the movie theaters and said, "You need to pull this movie because they stole our intellectual property." Then I do think that the movie theaters have pulled movies before with that kind of litigation happening.
But they would need the proof, which is what the copyright claim will provide.
Yeah.
If someone just walked into the cinema and said,
"They stole my movie."
They took our movie.
Yeah, I wrote this script on napkin back in 1968. And
yeah, you're like, right, okay, sir, stay there. The manager will be right out, and all the while you're stomping on the panic button underneath the desk.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm agreeing with your analogy. To jump back to your first point, though, I do think the mods did help sell. I mean, I know I read articles that were strictly based around the idea of what these mods could be and how they're going to accomplish it. So I think it is a sales point.
Do you know anyone, personally, I mean, this is just by the by, do you know anyone that went out and bought Fallout 4 purely
Just for
because
the
the
mods?
only
No.
reason was because there were mods?
No, but that's like saying, do you know anyone that bought Fallout 4 because it has illuminating lights that come out of the screen and fill your retinas with information? No, of course not, but that's a part of it. If it didn't have it...
Whoa, hold up. That is why most people would have done it, because if it was a blank screen, we would have had an issue.
I would like to see the first ever blind video game. Like, you know, like Stevie Wonder first-person shooter or something.
Put in some sort of official, the more official the modding business becomes, that's when it gets kind of messy. I mean, I remember hearing about when they were, you know, they were looking at charging. I think we were mentioning, Jordan mentioned it earlier. They were looking at charging people for mods, and I remember thinking it was kind of weird, not being a modder myself, but you know, I kind of sat on the side of people saying, well, isn't that the spirit of the modding community? That, you know, it's kind of just to be improved upon, and people do this and that, and people just pick up, and it's always free, and it's not just free as in monetary, but it's a very sort of free market, so to speak. So I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's no surprise things get a bit messy when they put them over to the consoles and stuff. But yeah, I guess some people did look at getting it with the mods in mind.
Now, you see, what you've done there, John, is you've made the terrible mistake of not backing up the senior editor.
I think I was pretty impartial there.
I feel like this is natural, that stuff is like this is going to happen. And it's the first time, you know, it's on consoles. It's kind of, you know, there's always bumps along the road, but hopefully this will get sorted out. I think what modders want the most is just, you know, credibility, and just there's a principle to it, and you know, Bethesda's kind of saying like, no, you know, put it in paper, and just trying to solidify it, which I could see, which is a good thing, especially if there's discrepancies there. But yeah, to move things along, because I know we could keep on going on that topic for a while. There's another interesting story. This one from Valve. So Valve's backing... I'm not sure if you heard this Star Wars Battlefront 3 fan remake. That was the Battlefront that was supposed to come out years ago. Actually, you know, let me read the article. It's pretty condensed and well written. It's from Eurogamer. Renamed as Star Wars Galaxy in Turmoil, the fan remake project aims to rebuild and release the Battlefront game once in development at Timesplitter Studio Free Radical Design. Now the Russian developers at Frontwire have gained the support of Valve and have been given the go-ahead for release on Steam. There are obvious licensing issues here, of course. Disney owns the Star Wars license, and this project is not licensed. Meanwhile, EA is busy developing the official Battlefront series. Disney could easily flex its legal muscle and stop the fan remake from happening then, but will it? Valve at least is happy to back the project. There's some quotes, but basically it's saying that like they kind of signed a distribution deal with Valve. So I guess interesting about this is like Valve knows for sure that this game's probably going to get stopped, yet they signed a deal. It just kind of sounds a little funny.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, like, so are they changing the characters, like the models or anything, like, or is it going to be like X-Wings and Stormtroopers running around?
It doesn't go into detail, but you know, if you bring that up, it's kind of like we were talking about the previous story about copyright and infringements on. I think the example was like films that basically are the same stories, but just with like, you know, the characters changed, and you know, these elements kind of just shifted around just slightly enough to where it's not the same, but you know,
yeah,
essentially it is the same. It sounds, by the way it's worded, it just sounds like it's going to kind of do that, kind of like I guess, well, maybe not, because remember there was that fan remake of Metal Gear that was being shown off, and that was pretty much just straightforward. And I mean,
they were redoing it in Unreal, and Konami put an end to it pretty quick.
Yeah, and I mean, and the developers, I mean, they're calling their game Star Wars Galaxy in Turmoil, so it has the word Star Wars in it. You would hope
I can't
that.
see it. I can't
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
it coming to pass.
I don't know why
way-
Steam is even getting behind it.
There's no way Disney, one of the most evil corporations on the face of the planet, are going to let it stand. And if they do, there is not a hope in hell that EA will let it go when they are producing Star Wars Battlefront 2. There's just not a chance.
And a worse version at that.
Yeah. No, there's no way. There's no way. It's a complete non-starter. I mean, I wish the guys the best of luck, but there's no way this is actually going to get released.
I can't see how this isn't going to get shut down. And I don't understand why Steam is getting behind it and like standing in front of it like, yep, we're walking right into a bear trap, and then just like stepping right into it. I can't understand it.
I have a theory on this though, and I think
Okay.
it's a publicity stunt by Valve. After the Stellaris, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but the Stellaris sort of controversy a couple of weeks ago with the mod that was released and then pulled for the racial connotations that it brought up. Now, Valve didn't have anything to do with that other than it was on their platform. That's the sort of shit that sticks, is all I'm going to say. And I reckon this is the first chance that they've seen where they can go, oh look, we're the good guys, it's fine, trust us.
So I got an observation to end this thing with. So Steam has a ton of money, right? We can all agree to that. Like a shit ton of money. But if you go to steam.com, it's some guy who has like a bunch of pipes on it, and he's like, this site is not for sale. Like, seriously, check it out. And it's totally like a Cartman Land type situation where you know that he's waiting for Steam to make him the right offer. But like, it's like they're at a stalemate. And so he has like a 1990s style design. Like, look it up. It is like, I hope all you at home are doing it as well, because it is absolutely hysterical when you just literally think about it. And think about
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. Is the
Welcome to Steam.com. Steam.com is the former home of Steam Tunnel operations. This domain is not for sale.
And not in use in any way. Just sitting there. I mean, it's just crazy, isn't it? Like, so Steam had to have, like, Valve had to have turned around and went, hey, we really want this website. And he was just like, nope, I keep it up as a memorial for the Steam Tunnel operations.
I will give it to you for $5 million.
Yeah, dude, like, I don't know who you are, but take the money. Like, you bought a website at one point. It's gold now. Cash in.
He should trade. He should say, hey, make Half-Life 3, and I'll give it to you.
Yeah, make Half-Life 3 and make me the main character. And it's like some guy like, like Brad Shoemaker, who's like, he's an accountant. And the game's, it's like the worst sequel ever. But they got the website, so that was important.
That's all that counts.
All right, guys. So that's it for the news this week. But before we go, let's share a little bit of what we're looking forward to. I know E3 will be in the mix, but anything else that's on the horizon for us. Let's start off. Let's go backwards now. Let's start off with you, Scott.
We're all gaming journalists. There's nothing past E3 for us. None of us are getting any sleep next week. It's E3. I've got a couple of interviews and stuff that I've got scheduled. There will be one, depending on when this video goes up, it might already be live. But one with Cryptic Studios about the STO release on console and their new expansion that they brought out. But no, I'm stoked for E3 and I want to see some new IPs. Really, I don't really give a fuck about Watch Dogs 2, to be honest. I mean, yeah, might be good, but show me something new. Give me a new game. and I'll be
Yeah.
happy.
I agree with you.
I'm stoked for a bit of Dishonored. I think that's you know, I don't know. I love that game. I like a bit of easy stealth. I must admit. I don't mind a bit of easy stuff. Nothing too heavy, nothing too realistic. But yeah, Dishonored 2. That's that's going to be one I'll certainly be looking at because I love the shit out of the first one.
And let's see. I mean, other than E3, I'm going to be covering a few things with that. I'm not going this year. E3 didn't see it fit to have me back for whatever reason. I think
it's because you got your willy out last time.
I only at near the men's bathroom. It wasn't. I mean, it was consensual. Look, I'm not even going to talk about it.
We just will leave it.
It's
fine.
been.
Do you know
it's
what I
been
like
do-
about that? Near the men's bathroom.
It was near the men's bathroom.
Not in.
I thought I was in, but look, I'm not going to talk about it because the
He thought
trial's
he was
still
in, but the
pending.
guy coughed.
Trial's still pending on that, but no, I actually I grabbed some old games, so I think I'm gonna watch E3, from my computer, take a little me time, and play Limbo of the Lost. I don't know if you guys, they stole like every art asset from other games. They like the game like is a point and click adventure, but like there's like 280 screens and like 120 of them or something like that is Oblivion screenshots.
Oh yeah, I saw that actually just yesterday. The Did You Know Gaming talking about Oblivion, and like they saw it from Oblivion and like every other big or really good RPG that isn't that game.
So I found a copy like 2 weeks ago at my local game store. That and a game called Obscure: The Aftermath, which is like a bunch of teens who get high on a plant that turns them into zombies. And it just sounds so awful that I've got to enjoy it. So that's gonna be my week, I think.
E3, yeah. I just love the spectacle of it. Just the madness is. I don't know. There's something about it it's kind of like the Oscars. It's like some things I kind of like hate about it, but things that I really love about it as well. Because yeah, it's But Last Guardian, seeing some of that and damn it, give me an official release date. Not just
a chance of Half-Life 3, Jordan.
That'd be it. That's another one too.
We will be, Mouse and Joypad will be live tweeting the conferences this year.
Okay.
Actually, like properly sitting down with a team and tweeting everything out so that we can get the news to you faster.
Hey.
So if you're hearing this is the end of our podcast. Thank you for joining us, guys. Until next time, I've been your host, Jordan Lopez, along with Trevor Anderson, John Hicks,
everyone, and
Scott Davidson. Yeah, guys, I'll see you on the other side of E3. Hopefully a better, brighter world, but we'll see about that.
Sounds good.
All right, guys.
We'll sleep for the journalists.
No, absolutely not. All right, guys. We'll catch you later. Goodbye.